Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen. Since 2007, George has worked as a medical oncologist at Te Puriri o Te Ora, Northern Region Cancer and Blood Service, where he is the Māori Health Lead. In 2022, he was appointed as Manutaki Haumanu Māori Clinical Director at Te Aka Mātauranga Mate Pukupuku, after some years witnessing the effects of delayed cancer diagnosis. George shifted his research focus to health systems reform. He is working on a project to adopt a new community-based model of care in cancer. George is the Medical Director of the Cancer Society of New Zealand and a board member of Hei Ahuru Mōwai Māori Cancer Leadership Aotearoa. And Ora Taiao, the New Zealand Climate and Health Council, and is the kaihautu of Pouarihi within Te Puriri o Te Ora. George is also a very talented guitar player. He's a very talented singer and songwriter. I've had the privilege of jamming a session with George, and it's a great honour to welcome him to the stage. Please, as loud as you can, put your hands together for Matua Hore George Laking.
Kia ora tātou, o tēnā koe e Jeremiah. Tuatahi tikita mihi ki te mana whenua o Torohainei ki Tainui Waka, ki ngi tūheitia, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Arā, ngā whenua o Tamaki Makaurau me te tai Korero, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Kua hau, ko mai tātua te waka, ko Mākio Tangaunga, ko Pepe Te Awa, ko Pape Te Marae, ko te whakatōhea te iwi, George Laking, tapu ingoa. Kia ora. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for reading out the bio, Jeremiah. I grew up in Wellington. I've been pretty urban all my life. I came to live in Auckland alongside my dear wife Anna, who's in the room with me right now. I'm super glad about. And I just want to say, as a manuhiri in these whenua, Tamaki's been so kind to us. And so that's some more words of whānau, you know, about the purpose of to manaaki the manuhiri and the rohe. And believe me, our whānau, we felt that so strongly living here. Yeah. As Jeremiah was saying, I've been working here since 2007. I feel like I've had 3 roles here, and the first of those roles has to be a person working as a medical oncologist at the Cancer Centre, and so I've been doing that, and that's been such an honour, you know, to be able to work with whānau that's affected by cancer and help find a way through that situation. For the first part of my career, I'd sit there in the clinic, and people, when I met them the first time, they'd tell me the story of how they came to the clinic, and so often that story was a story of delay in finding out about the cancer. And the effect of that is ultimately that that person and that whānau ends up in front of me because, like, I'm a medical oncologist. Really, ideally, if there's a cancer problem, the first specialist that you would want to see would be the surgeon so they can remove it and cure it. But if there's a delay, then quite often it ends up being the medical oncologist that you see. And I'd sit there in the clinic and I'd say, oh my goodness, that is not a good story. I'm real sad to hear about that story. And I'd sort of sit there and I'd say, but I'm a medical oncologist, all I do is I treat cancer, so that part of the story isn't really something to do with me. And got so fed up with that after a while, just wasn't satisfactory anymore. As those of us that's involved in the kaupapa of cancer, we've got a responsibility across the board, and we've got a responsibility to make sure that the system as a whole works right for people. If not us, the people that you reasonably expect to carry some sort of expertise and responsibility for cancer, then who? Then I've been sort of thinking and writing about this. That's what's on the slide. I think probably it's the best for time purpose if I stick with the Korero at the moment, to be honest. Went to the university, I probably should fess up. My own experience of this situation took on a new development on Friday when I found out that it had come into our whare to affect me personally, which was a bit of a surprise. Hadn't expected really, so I'm sort of going through the whole process of finding out the stage and situation of that. So far I've survived 5 days with the diagnosis. Kia ora, hope it'll be quite a bit longer than that, and I do feel, I've got to feel positive, you know. There's so many reasons to feel positive about the situations that we have, and the blessings that we're given as individuals and as whānau. So I just wanted to note that. I didn't really want to sort of like deflect the focus of today's kōrero, but when you see something from the perspective of personal experience, it just adds another layer to it, people. So what I want to talk about is where we want to go with the vision. Oh, it's good to call it a vision. E hara he kitinga, ka ngaro te iwi. Without a vision, the people are lost. And so I want to just share with everyone here a bit of a vision about where we would like to take things going forward. That was what that slide there is alluding to, how we change the way we do health, a view from the future. There's all these reforms going on, and the question came up, what's that mean for us? And I was thinking of it in terms of, well, what would success look like? And if someone was writing from the future, what would they say to us about what success would look like? So it's got 6 parts to it, and now's the time to pitch it. So the first part is in the community. I realised one day that for our mahi, we don't really have to be in the hospital so much anymore, especially if it involves kōrero. If it involves like a big machine or operating theatre, you've got to be at the hospital. But if it involves kōrero, nowadays with all this digital stuff, you can carry the records around and get access to the records and everything. You don't have to require people to come to the hospital for a kōrero. We can come out of the hospital. When I stand out the front of that hospital and see that enormous queue of cars and the parking and the stressful whānau and they're out of their usual place where they used to be and everything, thinking, no, why don't we go out and be where people are in the community? One of the things about being in a community is you start talking with people that's there as well. You start talking with your colleagues in whatever setting it is. You know, might be like a primary care health setting, might be a marae clinic type of health setting, and you're going to talk with your colleagues and you'll hear what the word on the ground is. And you might just hear if someone's a bit concerned about someone else, got a problem or something like that, they need to have it checked out. And then maybe that's going to be part of solving that riddle of getting diagnosed in time so that something won't just be left to continue on, but actually we'll be able to get into diagnosis in time. So that's a little bit about the being out in the community part. The next part, number 2 out of 6 things, is that thing we got to be across the whole story of cancer. And that story of cancer goes down the generations, you know. It's not just like one life, it's like multiple lives and a history of cancer as it's affected whānau and whakapapa over the years. But if you think about it within a life journey, prevention, screening, diagnosis, the treatments that we have, the survivorship, and then the end of the life and what happens after that part. All of those are things that are properly part of the expertise for being involved in and caring for cancer. Number 3 is also coming back to the community, but it's a slightly different angle on the community. It's engagement in the community. And I look at the example of our education system and like our secondary education, for example. If you look at a school that's working really well, it's embedded and integrated into its community. It's like a hub for places to happen. It's like it's like a part of the life of that community. And so like we've got community organisations, churches, social clubs, sports clubs. We should have a presence and a role and those connections as well. It's all part of making up that fabric of society. Number 4, let's make use of the benefits of these incredible new technologies that we have to keep track of what we're doing with data. And especially, let's make use of those benefits to lift the covers on how we're performing and how we're performing in the equity space. How there's a difference in how we perform for one group of people compared to another group of people. And as soon as anyone sees that, they're going to realise it's not right and it's got to be put right and changed. That is the driving force of health equity, ultimately health improvement by understanding what we're doing with the data. The 5th one of the 6 things is our workforce. So our workforce, and I think about it, like if we're travelling out and travelling around, one thing that we do hand over when we do that is it was kind of convenient for everyone to come to us, and we could have a whole lot of people come to us, like see 7 or 8 people in a clinic, and that would be quite efficient. And if we're on the road and travelling around, we might not see so many people. So that's got implications for our workforce. Okay, the remedy for that, as I see it, is that we lift the skills of our workforce, because we have so many skilled expert professions able actually to take a part in the care of people and whānau affected by cancer. What we've done historically is we've tended to guard away our expertise and silo it within particular professions, but there are many, there's so much to be done, and there are many tasks and things that can be achieved by upskilling our workforce so that we're at the top of our scope for our work. And I'm talking about our professions, especially the nursing profession, up at the top of the scope there. And so the final thing out of these 6 things is an educational sort of thing as well. I looked at my own education, because like I'm a product of the 1970s and the 1980s and the 1990s when I had my education, and the world has moved on and developed and changed since then. And I found out about a lot of things that I had absolutely no idea about when I was young. And there was a reason why we weren't taught those things, and it ties in with the whole, colonisation situation and this kind of troubled history that our country has had from time to time. Not always been troubled. Heaps of the history of our country has been awesome and positive, but I wouldn't say quite 100% so far. And so many, is this paradox that we have like educated people at the top of their abilities, but like actually along the way there was a part of their education they really ought to have had but weren't able to get, and we need to bring that in as well. That's one of the things we've been working on at Te Pūrere o Te Ora, is just broadening out the perspectives and the knowledge of the people that work with us, I guess, so that we can take our place, as manu in that pūrere tree, and we can start to have a kōrero with those other manu that are alongside us and understand where they're coming from and speak a bit in their language. Yeah. Sometimes I think about that with the history of the place where we are, as a matter of fact. It's called Te Papakoinga Atawhai, which is there at Pukekawa, which is the domain, and the stream that comes down from there is called Te Akoranga or Te Tui, Te Ako Te Tui. And I'm told where that comes from is people used to go down there and they used to have a talk with the tui and the birds, and and they'd exchange tunes and exchange songs. So that's part of the history of where we come from, as Te Pūrere o Te Ora, and I think that's the sort of thing that we were about and where we want to take things. Thank you for hearing me out. Kia ora.
I got the pleasure of doing some mahi with Matua Hori, and I wasn't really keen on doing mahi with Cancer and Blood when we were deciding to walk across, but the way you made me feel, and you do this with everyone, you make us feel really special, like we're the only person in the room. The korero you gave me sparked the fire inside of me, and I said to Alexis, who was my boss at the time, how do we do mahi with these guys? And so thank you for that. You've illuminated my heart and my mind in terms of maramatanga. I just don't really know what to say. I just wanted you to know that we love you. I didn't plan on having this emotional moment with you in front of everyone here and in front of everyone at Zoom who are the thousands in attendance virtually online. But you know what? I think we should sing a Bob Marley song. What do you reckon? All right, okay. All right. Rise up this morning, the little rising sun, 3 little birds beside my doorstep. They were singing sweet songs, a melody pure and true. They were singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Help us sing now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning. Your turn to sing to us now, come on. 3 little birds beside my doorstep. What are they doing? Singing a sweet song, a melody pure and true. All together now, Whānau. Say, this is my message to you. And don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. One more time now. And don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is gonna be alright. Turn to the person next to you, tell them, look them in the eyes and say, it's gonna be alright. Come on, y'all.
Hey, come back. Come back just to Pururi o Te Ora, Jeremiah.
Well, you've just sparked something else. Can we make that happen, Alexis? Dame, can I come back?